That's what it is.
Well, I believe this is
a little bit embarrassing.
I believe this is March 30th. I don't know what you call it. You call it 30 March in England, but it's March 30th, and I was scheduled to do this.
Well, I reckon we should set it. We could settle it. We could do it one of two ways. We could do Greco-Roman wrestling, just strip on down and get on with it. We could go for that. I don't think they'd like that very much. Or we could ask the audience who should MC.
Don't
should it
do
be
that.
Dave Kunz? Let's have a cheer for Dave. And let's have a massive, great big roar of applause for me.
Well, now wait a minute. Tonight we're honoring automotive royalty tonight, and I know that you sound like Prince Charles,
yes,
at least compared to me. Tell you what, since we're buddies, we've known each other for a number of years now. How about if we split the weekend?
What, like you do tonight and I do tomorrow?
Yes, I like that.
It's like a song title, isn't it? You do tonight and I do tomorrow. Yeah, that's fair, only if you help me out tomorrow.
You got it.
Right, so ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dave Kunz!
Mike Brewer. And he was one of many who drove in horrible, horrible traffic, but let's all shed a tear. He drove here in a new McLaren. Oh. Which actually is kind of sad, because that car will do 200 miles per hour and he never got above 30. So, Michelle, Mike, thanks for making it out. He's totally jet-lagged. This guy, talk about someone who's become part of the Southern California car culture and comes to events like this for good causes. He's jet-lagged from going back and forth across the Atlantic because he does charitable commitments in England. He comes here, he does as many shows as he can. Mike, I'm so happy to have you here, and thank you, Mike and Michelle, for coming out tonight. I'm kind of aghast because this is the people that I grew up admiring, all the car people. Gene Winfield, who we're honoring this weekend. You know, when I was a little kid, we'd go to the toy store and they had all those model kits and they'd say, no, you're too young, you'll glue your fingers together, you can't buy this. But I'd see all these model kits and it was Gene Winfield's reactor, Gene Winfield. I thought Gene Winfield just made models. I didn't know there were full-size cars. And when I was later, I said, oh my gosh, these are based on full-size cars. So Gene, we're happy that you're with us. He's strong as an ox, healthy as a horse, and just one of my favorite people. Isky and Iskenderian, back to my childhood. In elementary school, the coolest thing to have for your notebooks and your bicycles was stickers, like car stickers. And one of the holy grails of stickers at my elementary school was Isky cams. And I wanted one. I didn't know what a cam was, and I didn't know what an Isky was, but I wanted an Isky cams sticker. So I was able to trade, and I finally got one, and I put it on my notebook. And that's why I didn't do so well in school, because I was figuring out what an Isky cam was, rather than paying attention to who the 20th president of the United States was. Linda. I used to love getting a magazine with your picture in it. And I would stare at that picture. I'll just leave it right there. Anyway, this event is so cool and so many great people. And the person who really, really kind of does the whole thing and got us involved, and I'm telling you, she has worked her butt off to make this a success. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome and please thank Nicole Meguiar.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening. You don't sound nearly as excited as I am. I have never been more excited, more jubilant before our Benedict Castle Concours. This is our 6th annual. Pretty good. So welcome to the Team Challenge campus, the Benedict Castle. You really can't get much better than this location. And I have to say, can't get much better weather for the location for the weekend. We've had, as you know, we've had 50-degree temperatures and off and on rainy for 3 months. And the entire time I've been on my knees every morning praying for sunshine and warmer temperatures and believing by faith it was going to happen. People would say to me, do you have a rain date? And I would say no. And they'd say, well, why don't you have a rain date? Everybody's got a rain date right now. And I would say, well, because I actually know the man who's in charge of the weather. And I'm going to go ahead and trust him. And clearly it worked. Faith. Anyways, so we have a lot of exciting things in store for you this weekend. Thank you so much for making the effort to come out on Saturday night, for showing up and supporting our gala, for supporting Team Challenge. This is such a, there's not a much better I don't want to say charity, I would say a cause that is worth coming out and supporting. It's incredible. We will tell you a little bit more about it. We'll get the opportunity to do that. Gene Winfield, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. He's going to come up for a minute. He's going to give you a surprise before the program. This is bouncing around. Hi.
Hi, Nicole. It's very, very nice to be here. I'm sorry it was a little cold. But anyway, it's a fabulous place, and I'm so happy that you invited me to be your Grand Marshal. And I have an exciting car I'm going to debut here at your show.
Is that awesome? He's going to debut a car. We'll call you up in a little bit. So, here we are, Saturday, March 30th. The big day's tomorrow. I worked 51 weeks for this week, and it's all going to come together. There's been a peace over the show this year in a way that hasn't been before. I don't know if it's additional prayers or what it is, but I have peace over me. I'm usually a wreck right now. Of course, we've been working all day. Threw on my dress, and how'd I do? I'm just playing. So anyway, so it's going to be great, and I would like to, actually, first before I do that, I could not put this show on without all of the amazing volunteers that have come alongside me to really give of their lives. I'm telling you, the hours and hours and hours that some of these volunteers have given, and I just want to take a minute. There's some of you I could call out, but I don't want to do that because I appreciate all of you. But those of you who have come alongside in any capacity on a volunteer basis to help organize this show, I would like you to please stand because we want to give you a round of applause because you're amazing. They're not all standing. I also have something kind of exciting that has happened this year. DuPont Registry came to me, Becky, Warboy's friend, DuPont, and asked me if we would like them to sponsor the People's Choice Award this year. And I said, that would be great. And he said, do you have any way to tally those votes? I said, I have no idea what to do. And he says, well, why don't you ask your son Jordan if he can come up with something? And my son Jordan came up with a text-in way that you can text your favorite car tomorrow, which I'm really impressed with. And I know Jordan is shy and he doesn't want to, but Jordan, will you please stand up so everybody can see you because you're here and I'm thankful. Thank you, Bucky, for even giving me that opportunity because Jordan has risen to the occasion and more on this. So we're super happy that he's able to do that. There's so many, we have so many great sponsors. Meguiar's and Peterson and Coker and O'Reilly and so many of you individually who've given out of your hearts, just given really nice checks, which is what it's all about. We love the $100 that you paid for the dinner tonight. We love all that, but what Team Challenge really needs is, and I can say it because I'm not actually part of Team Challenge, we need the big checks. This place costs a lot of money to keep running and to keep it free. We'll also talk about this more. I wanted to bring up to the stage my father, Barry Meguiar. Now something happened last night that literally brought me to tears. Of all weeks, of all nights of the year for this to happen, my dad happens to mention to me on Sunday at dinner, I know you're busy this week and I know you can't do it, and I of course said, of course I'll be there. Then ended up being here till 11 o'clock last night, so did not get to do it. My dad last night received the Billy Graham Award at the National Religious Broadcasters. I'm pretty proud of him. I'm pretty proud of him. So this is my amazing father, who some of you know, and if you don't know him, you need to get to know him because he's the real deal. He's amazing, and I wouldn't be who I am and wouldn't have this show. You know what? Can we talk about Aaron Weiss for a second? I think I need to talk about Aaron Weiss for a second. When I started doing the car shows for Team Challenge, I was doing a little show in Covina. And We worked so hard for that show, and it was, I mean, we had so many, me and Vaughn Hot Rod, we put that thing together, and we had so many people. It was wild. It was a fun day, and it went crazy. And at the end of the day, we'd made $8,500, and the city took $6,000 of it. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of work for that, and happened to be just after Ron Brown had invited me to put on car shows for Southern California Team Challenge as opposed to just LA. And I was at it was just after I had met with Ron Brown and he had given me this opportunity. Aaron Weiss, we couldn't figure out, oh, this is kind of funny. We couldn't figure out where we were going to put a car show on for Southern California. We put our heads together, where should we put on a show? And Ron, it was me, one of us said, well, what about the castle? So my dad and I hop in a car and drive out here. We've been coming to the castle for my whole life, for 50 years now, and never couldn't even picture it in terms of a car show until we drove at it looking through the eyes of a car show. And when we saw the grounds, we were like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? So that's how it started with that, but we had to pull the first show together in 3 months. So I was at my dad's car guy Christmas party, and Aaron Weiss, where are you, Aaron? I don't even see you. Oh, there you are, you're hiding behind Gary. And Aaron probably spent a good 2 hours, if not more, of that Christmas party training me how to raise money by putting on a concours instead of a car show, and how to do it, how to lay out a sponsorship packet, what kind of cars, how to get cars to come, how to approach people, how to negotiate with people. And so I kind of think of this as your child, your grandchild. I think of this, this is an extension of you and what you do. Aaron Weiss puts on the San Marino Motor Classic, which is incredibly successful. If you haven't been, you need to go. What's your date, Aaron? June 9th. Spectacular event in Lacey Park, and it's something, if you haven't been, you definitely need to go. And if you have, come again, because we love supporting Aaron and Valerie. And I just wanted to say that real quick because I thought, oh, I better give the kudos to where it's deserved. So thank you, Aaron, for what you see today or this weekend. And this weekend will be by far the best cars, the most stars, and the best populated show we've ever had. So we expect to do very well. All right, Dad.
Talk about Ron Brown?
I do want to talk
Oh,
about
yeah,
Ron
let's
Brown.
talk about Ron. Once you start, and then let me give a little bigger picture of what Ron Brown is, because I can talk from a large scale, but you know him. I mean, you work for him, right? I mean, he's your mentor, and he's worked for you so hard and done so many open doors. So, Ron, you're awesome. Why don't you start, and I'll finish off with the larger picture.
Okay. I'll start with Southern California Teen Challenge is what our area is here. We have centers from Fresno to San Diego. This campus has 140 students. We also have ladies here this weekend. So we have the ladies from the Ventura Teen Challenge, which is very near and dear to my heart. Teen Challenge is the oldest, largest, and most successful drug and alcohol recovery program in the world. 1,500 centers worldwide. I call this the biggest little secret, best kept secret, maybe, because most people don't even know about Teen Challenge. Now in the car world around here, people know Teen Challenge because we've been doing this show. But Teen Challenge is the most successful, documented by the United States government, the most successful drug and alcohol recovery program in the country. And that is saying a lot. And we are honored that right here in Southern California, right here on this campus, that we can do this event. But Ron Brown is our executive director, who could not be a better fit. He embodies all that we want Teen Challenge to be shown to the public, because he has passion and enthusiasm and excitement and his love towards the hearts of Teen Challenge, and not just Teen Challenge here, but Teen Challenge around the world. We are honored by you, Ron, and stay. We got more. But we are honored to have him as this is you can imagine quite the undertaking to have all these centers from Fresno to San Diego. So.
Is it my turn now? I'll just say, Teen Challenge, Karen and I have been involved with Teen Challenge since 1969, okay? We support a lot of ministries. There's nothing we support like Teen Challenge. It's just amazing. And as a reminder, there's 140 students, a roundabout number on the campus. They'll be wearing red shirts tomorrow. And a number of you here have not really come into direct relationship with Jesus Christ. You wonder if he's really real. Just talk to every one of those guys. Every time you hear a red shirt tomorrow, just grab them and say, tell me your story. And everyone's a miracle. It really is. I work with Teen Challenge directors all over the world. I know Teen Challenge pretty well. We have, out of those 1,500 centers, we got the best guy in the world, and he's on demand. He serves on the national board. They want him in Eastern Europe and Asia and Africa. I mean, he could travel nonstop for Teen Challenge, and he preaches. You should hear this guy preach.
They can.
They can?
They can.
Oh yeah, tomorrow morning. That's right. Tomorrow morning at 8:30. If you have a question about God, how do you get into a relationship with God, you're going to hear it in a fun way tomorrow morning. It's worth your ticket to come for the service at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So I almost got saved again last year. And he works in the car guy angle so well, and but this man is a giant among men. He really is. He plays a piano. You should hear him. If we ought to just have a piano here and let him take off on it next year. I mean, the guy, he could entertain people in the Coliseum. He's that good. Can't say enough about him. There's only one Ron Brown, and so give him a hug and thank you for all he's doing. And give him a round of applause.
More than, anyway, I'm glad to be here, and I want to welcome all of you, and thank you for your support and your partnership with Teen Challenge. And Nicole, thank you for being a person of vision. You know, without vision, nothing happens. Proverbs 29:18 says, without vision, we cast off restraint and return to our former ways, but happy are those who keep the law. In other words, we live in a very limited way if we don't have a vision for the future. And Nicole had the vision for this car show, for this Concours. I did not. And so thank you for being a person of vision, because as a result of that, we've had the opportunity to meet some of the most amazing people. And so all of the Grand Marshals and everyone who's been here year after year, on behalf of Teen Challenge, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, I was walking around the grounds the other day giving someone a tour with the director here, Kevin Mooney. Kevin, will you wave? He's our director here in Riverside at this center, doing an amazing job. Amen. And we have amazing leaders who lead all of our Teen Challenge centers around Southern California, for men and for women. We have over 650 beds that stay full year long, which is a testament to how great the drug crisis is and how great the need is. So thank you for helping us to bring a solution to that need. For 56 years, Teen Challenge Southern California has been in operation. We're now in 125 nations of the world, and thousands of individuals and families' lives are being restored by the power of the gospel. But as I was walking around, the guys were getting the grounds ready, and there were little weeds that were sprung up from seeds that have come in from the wind. We've had some weather this winter, and so they were meticulously taking the weeds out. There's a lot of vegetation here. They wanted everything to look really good. And as I was watching them, I thought about, it's like the lives of many of our students. There are things of the circumstances of life have blown all kind of seeds into their lives that have sprung up and brought destruction and dysfunction and addiction. And what happens at Teen Challenge over a year, we have a wonderful community of support, wonderful people who love the students when they come in, and slowly they weed around their lives to take all of those seeds that don't belong, that are bringing all of the issues that drive their addiction out of their lives, so that they can really blossom and become the full person that God intended for them to be when He created them. And so that's really what happens at Teen Challenge on a daily basis, all year long. In addition to our residential work, we also have prevention work for young people to keep them from getting on the slippery slope of addiction and needing a bed in Teen Challenge. So thank you for being a part of the miracle of helping us to continue to make a difference. And so I have the privilege of praying for the meal and for our event, and then we'll go forward. But again, Nicole, thank you. Barry and Karen, thank you so much for your long-term support. You know, there's a lot of fruit that's stored up in heaven for all of the investment that you have made in changed lives. Father, thank you so much for this wonderful weather that you've given us. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of the beautiful cars, for all of the passionate people who are sitting at these tables today. Lord, thank you that you give them a vision to be able to restore cars as they're able to see what the finished product will look like, and as they start with the raw material of just pieces and they come up with these amazing trophies that we're able to visually enjoy. Thank you for the gift that you have given to them, and now you have brought them together with us. Help us to have that common vision of seeing lives restored to full function because of the power and grace of the Lord Jesus Christ. Holy Spirit, we pray that you bless this entire weekend. Keep everyone safe. Everyone have a great time. And Lord, we thank you for the meal that has been prepared. Bless it to our bodies. May it strengthen us so that we can continue to walk out all of the vision that you have apportioned to each one of our lives. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. If I could ask everyone to return to your seats, we have a very, very special part of our evening about to come up. We are going to make sure to give our Grand Marshal his due. It's going to be a little show with Gene Winfield and some of his friends, and we don't want anyone to miss it. So we know you're getting coffee and you're hanging out and chatting with people. We'd like to have you get back to your tables, and we got, as they say, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yes, Isky. You've heard that before? I thought I was coming up with an original line. No, that's not new? I gotta stop taking advice from people who steal others' material. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I think they're gonna move this lectern here. Time out. Hey, a friend of mine showed up tonight, and I don't know if he saw me here. Rodney, where did you get to? Who grew up in Southern California? Come on, no, Rodney, you're coming up here. Come on, just don't be shy at this point in your life. This is not the time to be shy. Who used to see? Oh, first of all, yeah, come on up, Rodney Allen Rippey, ladies and gentlemen. He became a household name thanks to being adorable and trying to eat a giant hamburger in a Jack-in-the-Box commercial. But here's the cool thing. Oh, and by the way, he was also in Blazing Saddles. Does anyone remember that? Mel Brooks' kind of daring movie of the 70s. But then I found out Rodney's a car guy because he came and did a stint as a news assistant at Channel 7 a number of years ago. And he talked about how, unlike a lot of these child actors, his money was not squandered away, and he made investments. And some of the things he invested in was some really cool muscle cars. Give us a couple of highlights of what you got.
Well, we got a 71 big block Corvette, and my first car was a 68 Mustang, so I kind of mixed it up a little bit, and it was great. Working with Dave and seeing him develop into the incredible car guy that he is just, it's awesome, awesome.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, a little surprise celebrity appearance. Rodney Allen Rippey.
And one thing, I'm going to be doing interviews tomorrow, so please, I'm going to interview all of the VIPs, so make sure that you know I'm going to be stopping by, and I want to hear the highlights of your life and your beautiful cars, and so I'm going to be saying hello to everybody.
Very good. Thank you, Rodney. It's just really cool when they welcome our new employee.
As long as we're introducing you, there's so many people here tonight. You know Camilo Pardo is here. Camilo, where are you? Come in here just a second. The greatest retro car ever, bar none. the Ford GT. 2005, Ford GT. You had the Thunderbird, you had a lot of retro cars, didn't look anything, there was nothing going on, right? You look at the Ford GT, the 2005 Ford GT, and you look separately at the original GT40, they look identical. They look identical, but you put them side by side, there's not one body panel that's the same. There's the absolute best. Where are you, Bill?
I'm right here, Barry.
I can't see you. Come up here so they can see you. Come on, just right quick. I mean, we got some neat people here. This guy rocks in Detroit. He's big time, and I tell you what, you may not have recognized his face here tonight, but we have these people kind of sneaking in on us here, and Camilla, just give a greeting right quick, but you nailed it, and I have always been in awe of your design expertise. And you might tell them about this the new GT you have on the lot.
Yeah, well, Barry, it was a long drive from Detroit, but I made it.
He drove a Ford GT, the new one.
I've got it right here outside the front door. There's this one part in the manual, if you take the car all apart and repaint it. So that's what we did. Because I feel very at home with the GTs and not really intimidated by them. When you're in the design world, you take these cars apart, you do something creative with them, and you deliver something new to try to keep everybody like you guys entertained.
So show them what it looks like. Tell them what it looks like right quick, and then we'll move on to the program. So, but it is once you see it, you'll never forget this car.
Yeah, it's not subtle at all. It's got sonic orange and black and racing numbers. It's right outside, and it's just great to be part of, with Barry and all of you guys and the evolution of the Ford GT.
Thank you for being part of this. By the way, when you see that car, they painted number 7 right on all the angles. All the angles inside the car. Can you imagine? And it's perfect. And I don't know what it took to make that happen, but it's pretty impressive. Great car to see tomorrow. Just one of many.
I was out there when he pulled up, and it's this car. I kind of did a double take. I know that's a Ford GT. I know Barry has one. Here's a funny story. Barry ordered his in pearl white, and then it came in black. And he said, "Well, if you insist, I'll take the black one." It's kind of an inside joke if you know Barry. And so Camilo said, "Hey, where should I park?" And I'm kind of like, "Park it anywhere you like, because you're going to be a photo op all night." So that was great. Well, we want to make sure that you know a little bit something about our Grand Marshal, Gene Winfield. And we were kind of flipping coins. Barry wanted me to do it. I said, "Barry," I said, you're the car crazier guy. By the way, it used to be, no one wanted to be called crazy until Barry Meguiar got on TV 20 some odd years ago and started calling people car crazy. That became a compliment. It's like, "Are you car crazy? What are you, how, when you're not?" Oh, wait, car crazy, that's good. I am car crazy. I'm proud to be car crazy. I also learned that you can be a car guy if you're a male or a female, because women can be car guys too. So Barry's taught us a lot. But Barry's going to teach us a little bit about our guest of honor, our Grand Marshal, Gene Winfield. So Barry, get on up here and take it away. And he brought a few friends with him too.
This is so neat. And by the way, we have like 12 Corky Cokers flying in right now. We have Cleo here tomorrow. Will she be with us tomorrow? Cleo won't make it, but she's in the hospital. We need to pray for Cleo. I didn't know that. Oh my goodness, pray for Cleo Shelby, please. But Rick Dore and Troy Ladd, and oh my goodness, we got about 12 people that are going to be interviewed in this lineup tomorrow. So it's just absolutely amazing. And then afterwards, this is a fundraiser. Go buy a poster or a T-shirt or a hat or whatever, and have all these people sign on one poster. That's going to be a valuable collector item, whatever you have signed on. That's going to be pretty neat. I'm going to get one of those.
I just wanted to, someone who you don't know is here, who I'm kind of excited about, is she still here, Bogi? Bogi, are you still here? Did she just take off? Bogi is here from All Girls Garage. This is a new television show with women. Where did she go? Bogi, there she is. She's in the coffee line. We are so fortunate to have Bogi. We have so many people. It's thank you, God. Anyways, I just wanted to give a little kudos to her. And since I have the mic, since I have the mic, I just wanted to say thank you to Chris Brewer for coming out. He is number 2 man at the Amelia Island Concours, and which is amazing. My parents always go to, a lot of you go to, and he comes out here for our event, but he is actually my handler tomorrow. He makes sure I get everywhere. He drives me around. He's my go-to man, and so I'm thankful for Chris Brewer being here. And I want to give a shout out to Vaughn Hot. Is Vaughn here? I can't see you guys at all. You're all in the shadow. Vaughn has been with me since show number 1 in Covina, and he's such an amazing asset to our team, and we're so grateful for you. Thank you for all you do to help us here and for raising this money. Thanks, Vaughn.
I'm amazed at the show, and we look at all the people that are here tomorrow, tonight and tomorrow, even more so, that are often paid for personal appearances. And it's worth noting that there's nobody being paid to be here. Everybody loves this organization so much, and for all you who to do that, Gene Winfield in particular, this amazing guy. You know, I often get thanked for pioneering the hobby, and thank you for what you did for all us car guys back in the day. And I have to say, I'm not quite that old. I'm the second generation. You know, the first generation is represented by Isky, who's here tonight, and Gene Winfield, and George Barris, and Alex Exidius, and you know, all the names, and they really did it. I mean, they created something out of nothing. And we have this guy here tonight that is, you know, I think of Debbie Reynolds back then, sequel Molly Brown. Nothing stops Gene Winfield. He's been spraying lacquer throughout all the years. Lacquer kills you. It's got isocyanates in it. You don't. It's not allowed in California anymore, but somehow you can find a can or two at Gene's shop, and he loves to spray lacquer. And I think it's like the breakfast of champions for him. I mean, look at this guy. It's just unbelievable. And he turned 90 a couple years ago, and he had about 20 different 90 birthday parties. Everybody wanted to celebrate his birthday. We all did. And I went to several myself. It's an amazing guy. I have followed Gene since I was a kid in all those first issues of Hot Rod magazine. And the great advantage I've had is the car hobby started when I was a kid. So I've seen the entirety of the car hobby. I didn't start it. I watched the beginning of it. But there's a funny thing that happens when you're reading about somebody that's 15 years older than you when you're 15. And then when you get a little bit older, you become peers, you know? And I thought I'd never get to meet Bob Peterson, who really started us all with Hot Rod magazine. And then Bob ended up becoming such a great friend. We called him Pete. But this community, the old timers, is decreasing on us. And we keep losing people that are lifetime friends. But then we have Gene and Isky that just keep on going, and they're better than ever. And Gene, come on up here a minute and talk to us. And I'm going to give you a chance to ask some questions in a few moments. And let me talk with Gene, and then I mean, can you believe we have Isky, Iskenderian, and Gene Winfield? I mean, do you realize, folks, how special this is? I mean, this is really kind of an epic moment, and it is for me. I mean, I'm in awe of these guys and what they did, and I'm so proud to call this guy my friend, and I see him at car shows all over the world, and I'm sitting there as he goes running by, you know, the next appearance or whatever, and you just keep going. And this last fall, he had a fall and broke his hip, and was in great pain, and you were, remind me of what show you're at.
I was in Finland, and I broke my hip, and then while I was in the hospital, I got pneumonia, so I was in there for 24 days. And they did a GoFundMe thing and raised a whole bunch of money in 3 days. It was just fabulous. I'm so happy that everybody could do that, and I come home on a medical flight. And then, of course, you can't hold me down, so 2 days after I got here, I was at SEMA.
He was coming to our Christmas party. We have a boat parade party down in Belle Island, and the morning of the party, I thought I'd better call him to see if there's any way he could actually make out of his house to come to our party. So I called him. He says, "Oh, Barry, hi, Barry. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be a little late." I said, "Well, that's all right, Gene. Don't you worry about it." He said, "Yeah, I got to go up to LA. I got another meeting in Burbank, that I have one in Huntington Beach, but I think I'll be there pretty close on time." This is Gene Winfield, and just an amazing story. And you want to sit, or do you need to sit? Are we good? We can see you better if we stand here, but let's get you a mic. Are these all live? Let's tap that and see if that's live.
Oh, hello?
Yeah.
Hi out there, everybody. It's wonderful. It's great to be here.
Well, we're going to hit some highlights, and then we're going to have this amazing panel discussion tomorrow. and it's going to be really cool. But tonight, I thought a special treat to hear for Gene, particularly, and focus in on Gene and maybe ask a couple questions. Then we're going to have Isky come up, and Linda as well, our Grand Marshal.
Our good friend Linda Vaughn, right
so we can't have Linda here and not have her up too. But right now, I mean, go back to those first days. I mean, this mind that God gave you. I mean, I often say when you go to a car show, God's all over the place. I could work as hard as I could all my life and never do what this guy has done with paints and metalworking. I mean, God-given talents, you know? And I do look at every car at a car show and I think, every one of those cars is a result of talent given by God. It's like Chip Foose. I could work all my life, I could never do what Chip Foose does. I mean, he's got talent from God, you know? And you look at that, and this man has been richly blessed by God.
Sam Foose worked for me in 3 different shops.
Did he?
I've known Chip since he was 3.
Is that?
We went water skiing together and everything.
Can you believe that? The intertwining of our car guy family is just amazing.
Barry, I did a lot of water skiing in my early days, and I just loved it. I did trick skiing and everything you could do on skis. So I hadn't skied for 15 years, and so 6 years ago, I went water skiing, and I got up and turned around backwards. Since
do I need to say any more? I mean,
I have been blessed. You know, I have done so many things in my life. I've done racing, and I built racing engines. In fact, my first shop was a chicken house behind my mother's house, and I started building flathead engines. And I got acquainted with Alex Exilius over the phone, and I was buying parts.
SoCal Speed Shop, you know that.
Yes.
Really, it's often called the first speed shop in America.
He started in '46. I have an autographed picture from Alex, and it says, "Gene, my pal since '47."
Wow.
So that was,
wow.
I live in I have a 3-bedroom house, of which I made into a picture museum. So I have a Star Trek room, I have a 28 Model 8 pickup coming out of the wall in another room, and that's a bed to sleep in. So I have a 50s diner, I have a car in my living room, and I have the Terminator.
I think he's car crazy. Safe to say? Certifiably, right? This guy is certifiably car crazy.
I have the Terminator, the original stainless steel Terminator in my entry. And by the way, at the Peterson Museum, we're putting together some cars now. And so from May of this year till May of 20, I'm going to have 5 or 6 cars in there. It's futuristic movie cars. So and let me tell you how I got my foot in the door.
Tell us, please.
I built this car, a show car, and I built it for a promoter back east, and then I bought it back from him. I had to hawk my house to buy it back, but and my wife at the time says, "You'll never make any money with that car." Well, anyway, she was wrong. Anyway, so I put this car. It's a futuristic car. I bought it back, and now by the way, there's 3 books out on me. My first book is out of print, and a used book goes from $500 to $600. And so the next 2 books I have available through me. One book is all on this car, on the reactor. The whole book, 100 pages, shows how I built it and owned it and lost it and everything. So anyway, I took this car on an open trailer down to Hollywood, and I didn't know anybody. So I found Fox Studio, and I drove up to the gate and with this car on an open trailer, and I conned the guy a little bit. I said, "I heard the transportation department wants to see that car." He said, "All right, just go right down here and turn left." So that's how I got my foot in the door. So, and then he told me all the other studios. So for 3 days, I took that car to every studio in Hollywood and got acquainted and give out my business cards and so forth. So then 2 weeks later, they started calling me. They wanted me to build a car, but they needed it in 3 days, and I couldn't go, and I was from Modesto. Now that was 340 miles from Hollywood, so I couldn't go down and get the car, bring it up there and do it in 3 days. So Barris ended up doing that one. So I've done all kinds of movie cars, television. I froze a car in a block of ice for 30 days for a gasoline commercial. I towed a train. In fact, the art studios or the art departments of the big companies, like in New York, they would call me up and they'd say, well, Gene, can you do this? Can you tow a car with a train? I said, sure, I know how to do it. Then I had to go figure out how to do it. But I towed, it was 4 cars and a caboose. But they made me do it over and over, you know, so I finally burned up the transmission in the station wagon. And I did Goodyear tire commercials for 18 months straight. And I built all kinds of weapons, what we call weapons, like drill bits and axe blades and saw blades, and drove these tires over these blades, and it was Goodyear steel belted radials. So I did that, and so I rented a new Camaro and took a mold off of it, and give it back to Hertz, and made a fiberglass Camaro. And Chevrolet gave me an Impala chassis, and I shortened it to the Camaro wheelbase. So they hired Jackie Stewart to come over from Ireland, and so anyway, so we were up at Laguna Seca Raceway, and I'm standing there in white coveralls, and they lifted the body with a crane off of this chassis, and then Jackie Stewart had a little dialogue to do, and he couldn't get it just right. 17 takes, they finally got it acceptable. So then he went out and started to drive over these weapons that I created. And I had parking lot bumpers and all kinds of crazy stuff. And he stalled the car over and over, and it was an automatic. So they finally, they took him out of it, and they gave me his fire suit, and I still have it. And his helmet wouldn't fit, so they pulled the guts out of his helmet, put it on me with his Scotch thing around the helmet. So I drove as Jackie Stewart for 3 days, and somehow I was from Modesto originally, and so they put a little article in the Modesto Bee, the little paper. A little article says Gene Winfield drove instead of Jackie Stewart. Oh my goodness, it hit the fan. So in Akron, Ohio, they got all upset. So then they took him out of it completely, and then redid the commercial, and so I drove in that. So I did all kinds of crazy stuff.
You've had such an amazing life. Let's go back to what we know you for. So that, I mean, like the early days of taking colors, painting and fading them, and that changed the entire car hobby. You're known for that. What inspired you to?
Well, first I
started playing with paint.
I painted a couple of motorcycle tanks. You know, the people would bring me the tank and the fender, and I didn't want to build the motorcycles, but they would bring me the parts to paint. And so I started playing with the paint, and I started blending and shading and stuff, and I loved it. I thought it was great. So I blended. My first car was in 1957.
Let's go back to that for a minute. You just started blending. I mean, nobody had done that.
No.
Okay, how does one? You realize we got a guy here that actually started doing what we take for granted now. All right? I don't like to race by that for a moment. We're here in a moment in time. Go back to that. Just so can you
I played with it a little bit.
This is history. This is history. You can't get anywhere else except the Benedict Castle Gala on Saturday night.
So I took a brand new 57 Chevy, had less than 200 miles on it, and I blended it, and it came out pretty good. And so I kept playing with it for between 57 and 59. Then I built a car called the Jade Idol. This was a 56 Merc. I sectioned it 4 inches, and I put a radical blended paint job on it. And then I took that car nationwide. It went all the way to New York and throughout the country, and we won everything. We won best paint, best upholstery, best engine, just sweepstakes, just all kinds of things. Now that car was stored in Denham, Massachusetts for 35 years in an environmental room, and a fellow from Portland, Oregon just bought it, and he shipped it to me immediately, so I painted it back like I did it in 59. So I did everything, so it is exactly like I did it in 59. It's a beautiful car.
Metalworking, how did you become this great expert in metalworking? I mean, was that just out of your head? Did you train or anything? Or you just trial and error, or how did?
Yes,
You're genius in this.
Well, my attitude all the way through life, and especially when I was very young, is I had the attitude I can do anything. I can do anything. Somebody give me something to do, paint, metal, whatever it is, I can do it. And then I'd have to figure out how. And so
There's a pattern here, isn't there?
yeah, but that's the attitude that I've had, and I've been very fortunate to figure out, and I just look at something and I decide I can do this little thing or change this here or there, and make it look beautiful. And so I build a car, and what I do is I like to say that the customer makes a statement. We make a statement with that car. And whatever it is, I create something. Every little thing is different and unique and just unusual. And that's what I've done all my life. And I love to do that. I like to create something that's different.
And you're teaching young designers
Yes.
all over the world right now. Can you share that with us? It's amazing when you go to shows. He's holding classes, teaching these young bucks that are the future of the car hobby. He's teaching them now how to do it from his own experience. It's just
I do
amazing.
that in Australia, and Canada, England, all over, and I do it twice a year at my place. And so I teach young and old, and I have old body men that have been doing it for 20, 30, 40 years maybe, and they come to me, and I can teach everybody something. There's a fellow come over from Sweden. His name is Lassie, and Lassie is a fabulous metal worker. He does classes, and he's very expensive to go to his class, but he came to my class, and I thought, my goodness, what can I teach this guy? It was fabulous. So he sat there for 2 days, didn't say anything. Then he came to me and he says, Gene, he said, that's the most fascinating thing I've ever seen. And so it was just beautiful. And so one of my slogans is, every day is a school day. I have a t-shirt that says, every day is a school day. So he recently put out his own t-shirt, and on the back he's got, every day is a school day. And there's a young girl in France tattooed on her wrist, Gene says every day is a school day. So it's just fabulous.
The mark you left on people's lives.
So I'm so happy to be able to be a part of it, and I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can, people ask me all the time, when am I going to retire? Well, when they put me in the ground. They can't move anymore. So that's my attitude.
Some people say, I'm going to do it until Jesus comes. I think he's really going to do that. I don't know. Before we open up for some open questions, racing was a part of your life too, and Bonneville.
Yes.
Can we touch on that part of your life? Because
Yes,
you're a pretty competitive guy even on the...
My first shop was
So,
my very first shop was a chicken house behind my mother's house, and I started building flathead engines and porting and relieving them and put cams in them. And I had a small engine, small bore, and not a big stroker. And I beat all kinds of cars with bigger engines. But it's just the way I put it together, and I went inside the carburetor, and I polished inside the carburetors, and just did unusual things that nobody had done before. And so I did that for a number of years, and then gradually I started getting into the bodywork and the paint and all that. And so then I got away from Bonneville for a while. So then in about 2000, I started getting back in. So I built a T-Coupe that's exactly like the car that I built in '49. And so I ran that with a flathead for 10 years and had a lot of fun. And so now I'm still going to run Bonneville and also El Mirage. I'm due to run El Mirage in May. And I'm driving a 2004 Ford Prius. And my partner set the record at 228 miles an hour at El Mirage, and I'm going to go for 230 in May. But I heard today that there's a problem at El Mirage, that Mother Nature put a little river right by the finish line, and so it may or may not be running in May. But anyway, we'll just keep trying.
my lens. And I don't want to wear you out, but does anybody have a question you just gotta ask Gene? You're just burning question. You're gonna have to speak up pretty loud. I can't see your hand. Stand up if you have a question. Okay.
First of all, Gene, yes, what an
Stand up, Mike.
Gene, first of all, what an inspiration. I'm into
I've got a microphone, thank you, Gene. Yeah, well,
He doesn't know how to handle that.
I drag myself out of bed every day with my tail in the air. I am in jolly old England, yes. And I drag myself out of bed with my tail in the air every day. And listening to you at your ripe old age, still doing it is just, it's so inspiring. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow renewed with a new abound and think I can, if Gene can do it, I can do it.
I think we can all feel that.
But that's one thing. I've got a question. The question is, you built so many incredible cars. Do you still own any of those creations?
Yes, I bought back the 2 aluminum cars that I built. One of them had built in '63 and '4, called the Strip Star. And I bought that back, and that's in my living room now. And then I have the other aluminum car called the Reactor. It's in a little museum in Chicago, but it's coming to Peterson for that deal actually it's going to be arriving in April for the May deal. And so I'm still having fun. I have a new car, a new vehicle here. It's a little pickup truck, and we're going to show you that tomorrow. And it has an interesting engine in the back, in the bed. So you come and see that tomorrow.
All right, another question somewhere. There we go. Just give me your microphone. Here we go.
Gene, do you have plans for another open house? And if so, do you have a date for it yet?
Yes, I have an open house at my place every year, and I hold it the Saturday before the Hot Rod Reunion in Bakersfield. And a lot of people come from Europe and everything, come to my show, and then they go over there on Thursday for the Hot Rod Reunion. I believe that it is October 12th this year. I'm not positive, but it's a second Saturday in October every year. And I definitely will keep doing that as long as I'm alive.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Another question, right here. Maybe 2 more questions.
Right here.
That's Isky.
Can you give us
That's Isky.
Can you give us your name, sir? We don't know. Oh, it's Iskenderian. Okay, here we go.
If you ever made a mistake.
Isky, I have made so many mistakes in my life, you can't even count them. But, you know,
When you cut your first car, and you had to cut 4 posts and take out a section, did you take it off in the wrong place?
yes, of course.
Another car?
Of course I did. And you know, and all I had was a hacksaw. You know, I cut that car with a hacksaw. And I made mistakes, but I changed it, see? So what you do with metal, if you're working a piece of metal and you goof it up, you screw it up or whatever, it's okay, it's a piece of metal. And it's only metal. You can redo it and rework it. And if it's totally no good, throw it away and get another piece. Do it again. No problem.
Isky, come on up here. Just you already started. Come on up here. And Linda, would you do the same thing right quick? Isky, the story of his life, he was a former Grand Marshal of this event about 2 or 3 years ago. We talked about his story, but you know, had that one little rented shop where he had his first cam grinding machine, and within 10 years, he was the biggest name in camshafts in his life. Let's see, one.
Yeah, Isky,
can you stand?
one of the cams he made for the
You practice it,
flathead was called a 404. I had a 404 flathead, one of his cams in my first flathead.
Oh, all right. Oh,
We're going to trade.
yeah, the 404, yeah, that was, yeah, well, I'll tell you, that was, one day a guy, I was, had a shop across the street from Vic Edelbrock at the time.
I hope you're getting pictures of this guy. It's okay. This is history.
I've got an Alfie cam that's, the radius tappet buckets, the key broke, and they spun around and scarred up the cam. I said, well, bring it, send it to me, and if there's a good lobe, I can make a master off one of the good lobes and retouch it up for you and make it usable. Wow, it says number 4 Alfie on here. Why, this is made by Myra Drake. Have just bought this engine business from Fred Offenhauser. And I said, you know, I'd sure like to try that in a flathead, that upper 4 Alfie cam. And so we got 2 Japanese guys in Fresno called up and said, we want something right I says, hey, would you guys be willing to experiment? And they said, sure. I says, all right. So I put it on I didn't have a way of keying the tappets at the time, so I put a spherical 2-inch radius on there, and this was hairline contact. It was like a tennis ball sitting on a flat. And they loved it. They passed cars and won out there, and they were really excited. So I've got to make a lot of these. And I did, and I called it a 404 because that sounded better than 400. Well, then I go to talk to the old master, Ed Winfield, in the later years when he's retired, and I'd go spend time with him. And I said, I should pay you because you're teaching me a lot of things about the old days I'd never get to learn otherwise. I says, boy, they sure like this number 4 offie made by Meyer and Gray in the Flathead. Okay. Oh, that's my cam. No, I says, it's for Meyer and Gray. No, I couldn't make them fast enough for them over there. They're sending so many offies out there, and that I had to make them a master so they'd make their own over there.
Right.
Wow, you could have done this way before me, I said.
Well, you know, the 404 had made the lobe so it was almost square. See, the valve would go up, go across there, and drop down quick like that. So then the Winfield made the SU1A.
SU1A, yeah.
SU1A. So anyway, he had a cam that was so smooth, the lobe was just smooth. You can't believe it. His would idle, so people would buy his cam just so they sound like they really had a race car. They go boom, boom, boom down the street, you know. And the Winfield cam was so smooth, you couldn't hear it at all. But at the top end, look out. So
do you have a favorite Isky story?
Well, no, Isky, we go back a long ways, but I don't like to tell stories on him. He's such a fabulous guy.
I have a story on both.
Okay, Linda.
Linda Vaughn.
All right, let me just talk about Linda for a second. Linda and I are the same genre, see, so we both grew up loving these guys and becoming great friends. And of course, Linda's first lady of motorsports, the queen of stock car racing. I mean, this Hearst Golden Shifter. I mean, how many went to
every Indianapolis race?
And she owned the Indianapolis race in the back of the convertible drive around the track. And for me personally, how many went to the first SEMA shows back in Orange County, at the Orange County Convention? Anybody here? Nobody. Well, there's a couple hands. Okay. I mean, you went to the SEMA show, secondary to see the parts, and first to see Linda at the front door. She was always the Hearst gal at the front door greeting everybody.
Never missed a SEMA show, have we?
Never.
Well, none of us have.
The first time that George Hearst says, I'm taking you with me, we're going over to Iskenderians. And I go, I gotta get a sticker. My brother said I had to have a sticker, I couldn't come home. So I go in, he's got more stuff in his office than I got in my house, let me tell you. I thought shoes tacked to the ceiling or something. Go into Isky's office.
You know, real quick.
I loved every moment of it because I knew all about the cams. And then I met Gene Winfield, and then they both had done things and worked on my cars. And such an honor and a pleasure to be up here with y'all tonight.
Thank you.
My heroes.
Isky's really credited for the first guy. He's not only a genius, but he's a marketer. And he's really credited to be the first person to actually do T-shirts and, you know, the uniforms and all that. I mean, smart.
He's so sharp.
How
old are you today?
97 and a half.
97 years old.
I'm only 91.
I'd like to ask Linda. I remember when George Hearst, Golden Shifter, and you and another beautiful girl were on right way up high, and they would go down the drag strip. What precautions did you take so you wouldn't fall off there?
Well, I made sure we had an escape program because I didn't want to break my neck. We practiced and we set it up. We had invisible wires that actually held it up because George was very, very interested in taking care of these legs. I had them insured for $1 million then, so we didn't want to break a leg. So we had the wiring, and I rode the float at the Indy 500 this past year, and I was so honored but scared to death going around that racetrack. I kept telling him, you're sliding down the curves. I didn't realize I was that high up, so it was a little frightening, but unfortunately I never did, and fortunately I never got hurt. It did break one time at Riverside, out here at the Riverside race, going around the road course, and one of the wires broke, and I jumped in the back seat. So I let the shifter fall, but I was in the back seat, so I never got hurt, but thank you. That's what my dresses used to go up.
You used to put on a really good show.
Thank you, we sold a lot of her shifters.
That shifter must have been
20 foot tall.
8 feet tall.
That's great. Okay, a couple, maybe 2 or 3 questions. Anybody has any right quick? Then we're going to turn this off because it's going to get late on us, so we want you to be out there fresh in the morning. Question, here we go. Can we get them, are we out of microphones? We probably are.
That's Jean's guy.
Okay, go ahead. Speak loud.
Yes, I can. What he's asking is for me to relate to a very special customer that came to my hobby shop in Japan. And this is in 1950-51. I was in the Army. First I did a little thing in the Navy at the end of World War II, and then I was drafted into the Army for the Korean deal. So anyway, General Bradley called me up and asked me if I had a certain model airplane engine and a hobby kit to build an airplane. I said, sure, I got it, come on over. So he comes over and I said, when you come in the gate, you go turn right and it's the first building on your right. And so I didn't tell my company commander that he was coming, of course. And so he come in and he was fabulous. And so he bought the merchandise and we took pictures and we had jokes and we were just having a great time. And then my company commander found out that he was on the premises, so he come over and he made a complete, I can't say it, but anyway, it was terrible. He was trying to promote himself to this general, you know, and it was terrible. So then later, he gave me a DR and I had to wash windows for 2 weeks because I didn't tell him that the general was coming. But he was fabulous, General Bradley. And I've got all kinds of stories.
Oh, we missed that part. Okay.
Oh, yeah, General Bradley. He was a 2-star general at the time, and then later became a 4-star general. So I've got all kinds of stories like that, but we don't have the time to talk about them. But come and see me tomorrow. I'm going to set up a little booth someplace, and then I'm going to show you my new vehicle.
Yeah, there we go. 1 or 2 more questions, then we'll cut her off. Anybody burning question?
I have a question.
Okay, thank you.
Did you enjoy painting of a woman's car, Gene? Would you tell them about my hot rod leaf?
Yes.
And the gold Murata paint? It's illegal.
Yes, there was a pearl called Murano Pearl. And it was actually produced by Merle Norman's cosmetics company. And I went to New York one time to go to the office of Merle Norman to find out about this pearl. But anyway,
the women loved it.
So I painted her roadster. They built her a roadster with a rear engine, a Lincoln engine in the rear, and it was a beautiful little roadster. So I painted it with Murano Pearl. So when I put this gold pearl over white, it has a very unusual cast. And when you look at it one way, it looks white, and then it looks gold. You know, so nobody has ever been able to duplicate this Murano Pearl. Never. All the paint companies have tried and tried. Nobody has ever. No, I can't duplicate it, but I.
Would you paint my car again? Because I got my chief mechanic here tonight.
And I have a little bit of Murano gold pearl.
He saved it for me, ladies and gentlemen.
Talk about military right quick. Isky's trying to tell stories, and he just went to mention right quick, but when he went into the service, he was trying to figure out what's going to go on there, and then he had this moment. You want to share that right quick?
I went to Sunday school all my life. Armenian Congregational Church. The parents would go to church, and me and my brother Luther would go to Sunday school. And everything was fine, and we were Christians. but I never had to really call on the Lord for help, I guess. So pretty soon it's time to either go in the service, and we're going to learn to fly. We can learn to fly free if we join the Army Air Corps. And but where would they send me? Oh, they'll have complete control over me, and I have nothing to say about it. And I was worried, and all of a sudden, hey, I don't have anything to worry about. The Lord's going to take care of me wherever they send me.
Wow.
That's right.
Wow.
And then,
That's right.
so I was saved at the moment and didn't know it. My son says, Dad, are you saved? And I told him my experience, and he says, no, you got to go in front of the minister and recite these things. And I said, all right, I'll do that, but I've already got the real personal experience.
That was a personal experience.
I know.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I have complete trust. And
you're free to say that on this property, you know. It's okay.
He'll take care of me.
The owner's not going to get mad at you for saying that. So, Gene, we're going to have more conversation and presenting a word up with you tomorrow, but we're going to do a little signing of that tonight. But any last thoughts about this incredible life you had?
Well,
I mean, incredible life.
Only thing I can say is I'm just getting started. I'm going to continue to create and do everything I can, and I'm going to continue to show people and tell people how it's done or how I do it, and hope they can learn something from me.
Boy, I tell you what, he means it sincerely.
Yes.
Just back at Autorama, end of a very long day, and then on the third day, and there was Gene. He comes out and he said, "We're going to dinner," you know. He's
That's right.
Ready to go. So there's only one Gene. We honor you, Linda. I mean, we had such a great time with you and your stories, and with your mom, and going those Judy and Isky. We had such a wonderful time hearing your story, you know, and for you guys to come back means so much. And now Gene being a part of this. And
thank you so much.
We wonder if
so
it was
happy to
possible,
be
and here you are, and thank God you are here still
Yes.
with us. And Isky was not feeling well this week, and had a little bump, and we thought he might not come, but here he's with us, and thank you, Lord, for Rick Dore. Rick Dore has some health issues going on, and Rick has made it. Thank you, Rick. I haven't had a chance to say hi to you tonight, but you're here. You're here for this, and I know how much you love Teen Challenge and want to support everything's going on here. Thank you guys for being here. Nicole, I'm going to hand this, or Dave, I'm going to hand it back to you, the real announcer with the real voice. And what are we doing now?
Well, I was going to actually hand it off to Nicole, so, you know, this is how we do it in the entertainment industry. We have as many executive producers as possible. So, you know, too many cooks spoil the broth. But thank you, everybody. This is fascinating. I've had to go to the bathroom for the last 20 minutes, but I didn't want to miss any of this. So, you know, my bladder's pretty strong, but thank you. This has been absolutely awesome. We'll let everyone kind of get along now, because Nicole has something even more special. Come on this way. These are the, we don't want to call you older, the older generation, but Nicole wants to do some testimonials with some of the younger generation, and you have some testimonies coming up here in a bit, right?
She's going to
Okay, yeah, we got to do our photo,
the
but I think
youngest.
our photo's all screwed up now because I did it wrong. I think I was supposed to be on the other side.
We popped around a little bit on the schedule,
okay.
but we're all good.
All right, good.
So
Our stage is growing up here. Everybody wants to be a part of this presentation. It's so significant.
okay, this is pretty incredible moment for me, as you can imagine. Growing up, all of these people on the stage have been my heroes, and we are so honored. We've actually been trying to honor you for a little bit, Gene, but
Thank you.
but you were able to make it with us here.
Well, you know why he's not here? Hasn't been here before. He's always been in
Internationally.
Finland or
I'm in
Australia or
Switzerland.
some
I'm
far away. No,
down in
I
Australia.
went to one this year, but I got to go off to Finland or whatever. Man travels the world.
So we are honored, and we are honored to have you here at the Teen Challenge, on behalf of Teen Challenge and the Benedict Castle Concours. John, if you could bring the award.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you.
We would like to present you this award. Thank
We're not
you.
going to let Gene look at it because it has to look better for the photos, so you can look at it
Thank
later.
you for being our
I will
sixth
study
annual.
it. It's beautiful,
Our
thank you.
sixth annual Grand Marshal. Thank you so much, and if we can take a few photos here.
So fabulous. Everybody ready?
Do you have any wall space left to hang this? Because we've heard about all these rooms. The ceiling, there we go.
Okay, everybody ready? Anybody else? Shoot away.
Last chance.
Bogi, come on up. They want you in the
Where's
photo.
Bogi?
And Linda and Nicole don't want to be the only women. Come on up.
There she is. Everyone,
Wait a minute, where's
Bogi,
your hat?
all
Where's your
girls
hat?
garage. Yes.
You had the coolest-
Women.
You had the coolest hat on when you got here.
Yay.
All right, picture time.
Can you guys give a round of applause for Gene?
Yes, absolutely, Gene. There we go.
Thank you.
Come on, everybody. Let's
Thank you so much.
how much we appreciate what you love driving out the car. Absolutely. Come on, everybody. Let us know how much you love and appreciate this. We're still running a life we all live here. And all of us enjoy we're living in this
Thank you, Nicole.
town.
Thank you so much for this beautiful thing.
And thank you, all of you stars, all of you for getting us.
You know, I try to go to the gym in the morning, but I think I'm going to inhale lacquer fumes instead because I think that seems to be the secret to a longer life.
Oh, that's great. That is so awesome. I don't know about you, but I'm glad I came tonight. Are you glad you came? Special, unbelievable
Thank you
night.
guys. Thank you so much.
This is history, folks.
This is history.
And now the stage is going to belong to Nicole because we're not done yet because we have some inspiring things for you to hear. Oh, here we go.
Where's Dawn?
Everybody ready?
One last picture, that's what they always say.
I'm smiling. Isky, look at that camera there, Isky. All right, here we go. Ronnie, come on up here.
Remember when you had to use film to take all these pictures? You were a little more judicious. Now it's like, let me take pictures of someone taking pictures because
Thank you,
That's
guys.
great, thank you so much. All right, we're gonna go down here.
let's, we didn't pay the extra fee for steps, so we'll have to just.
It's only one step, Dave. Come on.
And as good as that was, I think what we're about to see is the reason we're all here this weekend. And Nicole, go for it.
Thank you, Dave. I thought I'd do something a little different. Probably was suggested to me, and I like to take ownership of other people's suggestions. I am going to have 2 of the students coming to give you real quick, no more than 3-minute testimonies, just of what where they were, what Teen Challenge has done for them, just to give you a little glimpse of what you're going to get to see tomorrow. Now tomorrow, I put all of the students in red Crossroads Car Show shirts, so you know who they are. I would charge you to, when you pass one of these students in the red shirts, to ask them their story. I think if you will listen to their story, you will no longer question whether there's a God and if He is able to transform lives. Because this is going to give you a glimpse of it, and I hope that you will take advantage of that. That's why I put them in the red shirts, so you know who they are, so you can hear their stories. They're pretty incredible. And the #1 praise I get every year from this show is the students in the red shirts. everywhere I go, every show I go to, oh, your students in the red shirts, they shared their story, and wow, it's so powerful. So I'm gonna give the microphone over to them for just a minute to just share, just real briefly, give you just a glimpse. And tomorrow you have all day, and you'll get the opportunity yourself to hear that. Before I do that, I forgot to introduce the most important person here tonight, and that is not uncommon for me when I get up on stage, but the most significant and important person in this place tonight is my mother, Karen Meguiar. Will you please stand? People say that they have great moms and they have the best mother. I'm like, but I really do have the best mother. She is the most loving, giving, wonderful person you could ever meet. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to have you. Thank you, Mom, for just being you. Okay. All right, so here we go. And you guys just introduce yourselves and share, and I'll come back up.
Hi, my name is Marissa. I'm 21 years old, and I've been in the program 9 months. Before coming to Teen Challenge, I was so broken. I relied on the world to tell me who I was instead of Jesus. And it led me to a heavy addiction, and I was homeless on the streets for 2 years. And by the grace of God, this is only Jesus, he literally took his mighty hand and picked me up and took me into Teen Challenge. And since coming into Teen Challenge, I have not looked back. I have learned so much about myself. And it's been such an amazing experience just to figure out who I am in Christ, that I am beautiful and I am chosen and I am worthy of his calling. And the verse I stand on is Philippians 4:13, and it's, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Thank you all so much for coming out and supporting Teen Challenge.
How you guys doing? My name's Alex Brewer. I'm 26 years old. I'm a native of Riverside, born and raised. My upbringing was really good. I have a loving and caring mother and father, hardworking dad, loving mother. Always directed me towards doing well in life. Graduated from high school, went to college in San Marcos. But I made some choices in life that really derailed me. I found myself in a 2-year addiction to meth, and it quickly robbed me of everything that I had. First and foremost, my family. I'm a father too. I have a 2-year-old son. I was removed from my son's life, and I'm glad it happened. Because the state that I was in, there's no way that I should have been around my little boy like that. But thanks to the Lord, I'm here now. And I had an amazing experience. It's a very scary one, but very amazing. June 7th of last year, I had an experience, an overdose that led to a heart attack. And like I said, I was living in my car, homeless, was driving to work one morning on June 7th. It was about 5:30 in the morning, and I had taken the last piece of meth that I had, and I was broken at this point. I was tired of living. I couldn't get anything right, and I was literally at my end's road, and I consumed these drugs, and a couple of minutes later, I started having a heart attack. And thank God that the exit that I got off of, the nearest hospital was 3 blocks away. And as I started driving towards the hospital, because I started noticing my heart racing and my chest hurting and my body changing colors. And then the Lord speaking to me and saying, "Son, you're dying." I was hearing God's voice for the first time. I grew up in a Christian home, but I had doubts whether the Lord was real. Church was very routine for me. People speaking about God was very routine. And I found myself in a moment of crying out to the Lord. I made it to the hospital. I ran inside the emergency room, and I told the nurse there, it was about 6 in the morning now at this time, and I told the nurse, "Hey, I think I'm having a heart attack. This is what I just took. Please help me." And quickly they rushed me to the back of the hospital, and they laid me on a bed. And as I'm getting hooked up to the EKG machine, there's doctors and nurses around me. The Holy Spirit again is telling me, "Son, you're dying." And from one moment to the next, I remember everything so clearly. I felt this gentle breeze of air just pass by my face, and my spirit just left my body, and everyone who was around me disappeared, and I was hovering over my body in an empty hospital room, and I started sinking down into darkness, and I found myself sinking into this deep pit, crying out to the Lord, the one who I always doubted, the one who I never believed in. In the Bible, it says that in 1 John 1:5, it says, this is the message that we proclaim, that God is light, and he is the one true light, and he comes to give light to everyone. And I was sinking down into this pit. I'm crying out to God. I'm saying, Father, I took my life for granted, Lord. I took my son for granted, my mom and my dad. Lord, please help me, save me. And I stopped sinking. And I heard God's voice call out to me. He said, son, you're down here, son, because of your disobedience and the unforgiveness that you're carrying in your heart. And what led to my addiction were some choices that I made because of people who hurt me in my life. I had unforgiveness towards them. Luke 6:33 says, forgive one another so the Lord God may forgive you. And so God came for me that day. I saw him come down as a beautiful bright light. He came down and he said, son, you're mine. And June 7th, this is what is the day when I had this experience. And 8 days later, I was in Teen Challenge. And there's a verse that I found today. And it's Psalms 118, verse 17. It says, I shall not die, but live and tell of all the Lord has done for me. And I'm very thankful for the vessel of Teen Challenge. I'm thankful for you guys and for the Meguiars putting on this show and raising the money to continue this ministry of Teen Challenge. 20 years ago, a family friend went through this ministry, and that's how I found out. When I was released from the hospital, my aunt told me, son, there's Teen Challenge. Are you willing? You need the help. 20 years ago, a family friend went through this, and this is just the powerful thing about Teen Challenge and the way God uses it for people's lives like mine and my sisters here. God has saved my life, and he's renewing me, and he's healing me, and I'm just very thankful for you guys. And like Nicole said, she's thankful for her mother. I'm very thankful for my mom, because when I told my mother about my experience, 3 months after it happened, she told me, son, I was praying and asking the Lord to reveal himself to you in a mighty way, but that he would preserve your life. And that's exactly what happened. And so I just thank God for all the mamas, because moms are very good, and I'm just thankful for Teen Challenge. And thank you guys for showing up. This means a lot to us. Thank you.
You guys, they're amazing. And that's just two of them. We have 140 students who live on the campus, male students, and the women have come from Ventura Teen Challenge, which is on a mountain in Ventura, and wow, it's an amazing place, and they're blessed. However, Teen Challenge is a free one-year residential program. Free. If you know anything about drug addicts, they lose everything. They lose their houses, their families. They're at the end of their rope. They don't have anywhere to go. They don't have insurance anymore. Their parents are tired of footing the bill for everything. That's when Teen Challenge can step in. All of us know people in our lives who are in addiction. Maybe it's a neighbor's kid, maybe it's your kid. There's a place of hope. And hope is found here in Teen Challenge, I can tell you that. This is found here. But it is not free to Teen Challenge. It costs Teen Challenge a lot of money to house the 600 students from Fresno to San Diego. A lot of money. And this is one of the best ways we raise money for the year for Teen Challenge. So I invite you to open your hearts tomorrow, tonight even if you want, to give generously to Teen Challenge. I unfortunately forgot to mention earlier when the light was still on the painting up here, Kenny Burtz, who is the president of the Automotive Fine Arts Society, paints our official painting for the Benedict Castle Concours each year. This year is the best one he's ever done. It is the front cover of the programs. If you saw that, Bruce Wanta's beautiful auburn bow tail is on it. It is gorgeous. This painting is gorgeous. I had it framed beautifully. Last year, the painting went for $10,000. I would hope that this year's painting, a much more beautiful frame and a much more beautiful picture, would go for at least that. Please consider looking at it, and it will go for live auction tomorrow from the stage. So I hope that you will consider doing that. And we also have many great silent auction items, live auction, raffle prizes. So there's lots of ways to get And you can always just write a check. We're okay with that. Looking forward to tomorrow. Again, we wanted to get you guys out of here decently early, like my dad said, because it's a big day for all of us. Early morning and long day, and we want you to all have a wonderful night's sleep tonight. So we just want to thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to not just our stars, but each person sitting in every seat. To me personally, means a lot. Honestly, it touches my heart. You have no idea how much I've been in tears as I've gotten bings on my phone. I'm coming. Bing, I'm coming. I can't wait to look at my phone all the time. You know that, oh, I got another text message. I got another email. I'm like, what's it now? You could ask the guys who've been working with me the last several days. They're like, what's it now? What's it now? Great things going on, and we look forward to a great day. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for from the bottom of the hearts of every Teen Challenge student, staff member, Ron Brown. I did want to say quickly, Ron Brown, he has such incredible influence in this world that the owner of In-N-Out Burgers, Lindsay Snyder, right? Lindsay Snyder? She's the owner of the In-N-Out Burger chain. And she was just asked last week who were the most influential role models in her life. She put Ron Brown at the top of her list. Ron Brown, our Southern California director. That's pretty amazing. That's worth a clap. We're so thankful for him. I just wanted to say that because I had forgot to say that earlier. And Dave, I'm going to call you back up here to say the official goodnight. But thank you, all of you. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. We're going to have a great sunshine, beautiful, warm day, and looking forward to it. And thank you, Dave, for carrying us through this evening.
And thank you for making it easy, because I just have to pop up here when you call my name. Nicole, thank you. How about a hand from Nicole? She'll get some sleep next week. Speaking of sleep, one of the reasons we wanted this to end early-ish. Well, if you've been to a lot of things like retirement parties and stuff, they never seem to end. It's actually not even 9 o'clock. We want you to get a good night's sleep. We got a lot of things to do tomorrow, showing off cars, making them look good, maybe getting trophies, and of course the auction, and all kinds of fun stuff on the stage right over here. So that's why we have these VIPs here. You want to make sure to tell people, though, when they come to the car show tomorrow, say, you should have come to the banquet last night. That was really good, so they know for next year to come to the banquet. So we're going to let everyone get a good night's sleep. What's the earliest people can come tomorrow? I know the service is at 8:30, but yeah. Show up tonight, but car people like to get places early, so 7, 8. If they have a car, okay, gotcha. All right. Everyone get a good night's sleep. The weather is going to be 8:30 for the service. That's actually kind of late. I mean, I'm kind of an early riser, so you could have done it earlier, but that's okay. But keep in mind that, remember all the rain we had? Remember all those terribly rainy, drizzly, horrible weekends? It's going to be 85, I looked on my phone earlier, it's going to be 85 degrees tomorrow and sunshine with a gentle breeze. Okay? So Nicole's taking credit for that? Yes. You get credit. Keep raising her hand. Yeah, I arranged that. Thank you.
I did pray for it. I have forgotten to say, those of you who are supposed to have VIP passes, if you have a car that you've registered, they're in your registration packet. But there's many of you around who you're supposed to get VIP passes. I have my guys at the back and get your VIP pass and your wristband so you can get right in the morning. You don't have to worry about it. I have them all set up to go for you. And also our official poster I have for you as you leave tonight. My guys will be handing them to you if you want one. The car guys, you will already get one, so you don't need to, you can have a second one. But I just wanted to let you know, the posters and the VIP passes are at the back for those of you who are supposed to and those of you who are paid for them. Thank you.
Very good. Well, for some reason she just wanted me to have the last word, but you should have had the last word. Anyway, how about a final thank you, thank you, thank you, good night, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.